Today I'm going to show you how to make the paper flowers that Kat and I use on a variety of our projects. So we thought we would do one tutorial so that you can see how to make them, and that way as you go on to different things that you want to try, you can just refer back to this tutorial in terms of how to make those flowers if you forget. First thing you're going to want to do is decide how big of the flowers you want to make. Typically Kat and I work with the 1 3/4 scallop circle punch. This seems to give us a nice size in that we can cover circles and topiaries and all sorts of different things, and it works very, very easily. Obviously the bigger the scallop circle punch you make, the bigger the flower is going to be, so keep that in mind. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a piece of cardstock and, again, upside down, go ahead and punch out your scallop circle. Now you'll need a minimum of 2 circles for every flower, and I'll show you how that works. Kat and I have made probably thousands upon thousands of these flowers. So what you're going to do is you're going to start by punching out all of your scallop circles. Now if I'm making a lot of these, I like to do a lot of punching, and then I like to do the next step and move on from there. So kind of one step at a time doing it seems to make the most sense to me rather than stopping and starting each step. Now if you look at this scallop circle punch that I punched out, I punched it from a piece of Tangerine Tango, and if you notice there's a couple of the scallops that are nicked a bit. It's not a complete scallop, and it makes absolutely no difference. So it's a great way to use the scraps that you have from the card making and scrapbooking that you do. So we're going to take our crimper and we're going to take our little scallop in there, and I like to run it through probably about 6 to 7 times. And each time I do it at a 90-degree angle, different from the last time, so that you can see the lines that I put through are always vertical to the crimper. But what this is doing is it's helping to break down those fibers, because we need to have this paper distressed in order to really get the look that we're going for. So like I said, probably 6 to 7 times depending on the preference. One of the things that we found is that the darker your cardstock is, it seems to need a little bit more to get it to the distress point. So I've run this through a couple times. It's getting soft, really easy to bend. So the next thing I'm going to do is just take it in my hand and I'm going to crumple it up. And I'm going to pinch it together so it makes a really teeny little ball. And then I just like to run it in my hands like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up. And the key to this is you'll be able to look at the edges very quickly, and the edges of your scallop circle should be frayed and starting to pull apart on their own. If they're not, I would go back and start over in terms of either crimping it a little bit more or distressing it by hand a little bit more. But what you're going to see is that it starts to pull apart very, very easily. And I just work along the edges, and so then I've got 2 pieces. And if you can take a close look at that, and when you feel it, when you do it yourself, you can tell it's almost like a suede feeling. It adds a great texture. So there are my first 2. I started a second one earlier, so I'm just going to pull that apart. So now I've got my flowers. Like I said, typically I will do this where I'll punch all my flowers, then I will crimp all my flowers, then I'll roll them all up in a ball, and then I start to pull them apart. It's a great thing to do when you're watching TV or you're waiting in carpool line, you're at the soccer field early, those kinds of things. And all you're going to do is take the ones that you've gotten and just put them on top of each other. So you're going to stack them up like that. Like I said, we're using 4 flowers here, which is actually 2 punches of the scallop circle, but you can use as many, you could do 6 or 8, and you're just going to get a much fuller flower. So I just punched a little hole in there. I'm going to take a brad. Now it doesn't really matter what color brad you use because you're not going to see it at all, but I'm going to stick it in the middle, and that's how I'm going to hold my flower together. So I'm just going to open that up. Make sure that's nice and secure. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to start with that first flower, and I'm just going to bring it up and pinch it together at the middle. I'm going to go ahead and do the second one, again pinching it up. The third one, pinch that one up. And then for the fourth one, I'm just going to turn it over and work right around that brad. And the brad sometimes will poke you, you got to be a little careful. But I'm just pinching and turning, and it creates a very, very tight image. Once I've gotten that, then I'm just going to open it up a little bit. And you can open it up a lot or a little depending on what the project is. But when you open it up, there's the flower that you get. Like I said, Kat and I will use these in a variety of projects, so you can refer back to this video anytime you want if you forget how to make this or need a little refresher.